Chapter 2303 Great Shift of the Universe 1. Jang quietly looked at the big bosses from various regions. They were like businessmen doing business in front of him, with flattering looks on their faces, cautiously hoping to get more benefits from Zhang. Zhang had a calm smile on his face. He reached out and took a cup of hot milk from Zhou Kutter beside him to soothe the smell of alcohol. All right. I've seen all your efforts this time. But even brothers have to settle accounts. Since you're here talking to me about sacrifice and dedication, let's first carefully review how much each side has contributed to this battle. He slowly took a sip of the hot milk and then placed the cup on the coffee table next to him. After hearing what Zhang said, the senior executives from the 6 regions looked at each other, and suddenly they didn't know how to start. The aliens told them the entire process of the battle after they returned. They also knew that more than 95% of the credit for this battle belonged to Zhang team. Gangnam District? That was just the icing on the cake. The Mechanical Legion, Liu Karen's 3 super battleships, and Zhang team captured the intelligence obtained by the silver-armored generals, as well as Zhang himself and these top-notch aliens under his command. These are the most important factors in achieving this victory. It can even be said that if the 6 major regions did not participate in the war, Zhang team alone would also be able to defeat the Wolwan Empire. But in that case, the scrap rate of the mechanical army will probably increase greatly, and Zhang team will also suffer casualties. Seeing that they were not being stubborn, Zhang nodded slowly with satisfaction. He continued, "I've kept all your contributions in mind and recorded them in the database. Since we defeated the Wolwan Empire, there were so many different kinds of spoils that I can't figure out how to distribute them right now. But here today, I can assure you." He glanced at the people present again. Everyone's heart was lifted, and they were a little nervous and expectant. Shang Dawen and others lowered their eyes. They were the biggest beneficiaries of this incident besides Zhang team. Even without considering other things, the black chariot-level alien origin they obtained alone is extremely precious. Zhang gave them a great opportunity and helped them make arrangements. Even in such a complete victory, no aliens were killed in the war. Zhang continued, "I can guarantee that all the resources you put in will be repaid at least 20 times over." As soon as these words were spoken, excitement suddenly appeared in the eyes of the senior leaders of each major region. 20 times the reward. What is the concept? Let's put it this way. In order to support Zhang in this battle, they spent at least 50% of their family assets. 20 times the reward means that the overall strength of each region will increase more than 10 times. However, smart people can also imagine that since Zhang was so generous in giving them 20 times the resources, then Zhang team must have gotten more. That must be an unimaginable natural number. But they're not stupid. They understand that the right to speak is completely in Zhang hands, and he is taking good care of them by giving them such a large compensation. Zhang continued, "Of course, as I said, we're still compiling the inventory. We're not sure exactly what we'll give you, but it will likely be the Wolwan Empire's technology, weapons, and energy. In short, 20 times the supplies you paid for are no less than what you paid for. You don't need to keep coming to me to argue about this matter. I'm very busy and don't have time to reconcile your accounts one by one. By defeating a powerful ancient civilization, we can obtain tens of thousands of types of strategic materials, including important ones. Judging from the style of these political veterans, they are unwilling to suffer any loss and are likely to sort out and analyze the items on the list one by one. After all, Zhang is rich and doesn't care about those trivial things. However, many resources that he did not take seriously, such as tens of thousands of tons of fossil fuels, were precious treasures in the eyes of the 6 major districts. Meng Yuanjun smiled and looked at Zhu Zheng and the others. "Since Lord Hunan has said so, we in the Xinjiang region have no objection. Everyone, Lord Hunden's character is worthy of our trust. Let's proceed according to Lord Hunden's wishes." Zhu Zheng also hurriedly said with a smile, "Well, Han Dun and I have been friends for many years. We usually call each other brothers. He has always been fair in his actions. I have no objection. The others also nodded, expressing their belief that Zhang Yi would not treat them unfairly in this regard. However, after discussing supplies, the next issue was the division of territory within the Wulwan Empire. It was still Meng Yuanjun who spoke first. Chaos about the Wulwan Empire. I heard it's a vast space located over 20,000 meters underground, and the entire kingdom's infrastructure is incredibly well developed, even better than the Huashu Kingdom at its peak. Currently, the population of Huashu country is less than 100 million. The outside world is full of crises, and we don't know when danger will come. So, we're wondering if we can divide the territory of the Wulwan Empire so that we can relocate there in the future? Ho Tu, who had been silent all this time, also spoke at this time. Although the Wulwan Empire was destroyed, there are still many powerful and terrifying civilizations in this world. For example, the ancient demon you helped seal. If it awakens, the entire world will be destroyed. So, I think it's very necessary to prepare for the transfer of all citizens. Li Guangxiao, the supreme commander of the East China Sea region, suddenly said to Meng Yuanjun. Meng Shuai, I remember there's a strange person in Shengjing who has the ability to teleport. Is that right? Meng Yuanjun nodded. He is Daisheng, the skyward star from the 36 celestial beings, a special unit within the Dragon Crying Guards. His ability is to set spatial coordinates and transfer personnel. This ability played a very important role during the First War between Tianhai City and the Wulwan Empire. Li Guangxiao thought about it, nodded, and said, in this way, he can establish spatial nodes throughout the 6 major regions of the country and then connect them to the borders of the Wulwan Empire. This way, if we encounter a crisis in the future, we can move there quickly. After he expressed his opinion, he certainly did not forget to look at Zhang Yi. Chaos, what do you think? The Wulwan Empire was very large, and it was spacious enough to accommodate 27 million lizardmen. Based on the city's area, it can easily accommodate more than 100 million people. If necessary, the city can continue to expand. Chapter 2304. The Great Shift of the Universe, 2. Zhang Yi's team did not have a high demand for land, and the original group of people in Tianhai City only numbered tens of thousands. All we need to do is to encircle a piece of land with a diameter of 200 kilometers around the central urban area, the most prosperous imperial city, and they can live very comfortably. Anyway, he has collected all the resources, so there is no problem in giving some land to other regions as a refuge for them in times of crisis. That's easy. The specific area division. After pondering for a moment, he suddenly laughed and said, since I led my men to conquer this place, I have the final say on how to divide it. You are not allowed to have any objections. Zhang Yi said this with a smile, but everyone knew that there was another hidden meaning in his words. Don't give me any feedback on how I divide it afterwards. Everyone quickly said, of course. The environment in that underground world is definitely better than here. It is freezing cold outside and a lot of energy is needed for heating every day, and it is not convenient to grow crops. They decided that they could have a better life by going to the underworld. The returning Inhumans said so. The temperature in the underground world is more suitable for human survival than the current surface. Although the oxygen is thin, this can be slowly changed through scientific methods. Technology has advanced to such an extent that humans have the ability to improve the environment. Zhang Yi said to Yang Xinxin, Xinxin, I'm sorry to bother you with this matter. If you have time later, give them some territory. Yang Xinxin nodded slightly. However, she calmly told the senior officials of the 6 districts, the underground world is now a ruin. With your current engineering and construction capabilities, it will be impossible to transform it into a habitable environment in a short period of time. Let's leave this to our mechanical life form army. Also, how many people do you plan to transfer? It's impossible to transfer the entire Huashu Kingdom's 80 to 90 million people there, right? In that case, it will take a long time to transform the environment. The oxygen content in the underground air is simply not enough to support so many people. Improving the environment needs to be done step by step. Meng Yuanjun, Ji Changhai, Li Guangxiao, and others looked at each other. They didn't consider these details, they just occupied the land first, and then developed it slowly later. Meng Yuanjun folded his hands under his chin, lowered his head and pondered for a long while before he slowly said, "The most important thing is to preserve the flame. If the entire Huaxiu nation really faces a life-or-death situation, our priority will definitely be to transfer outstanding talents in various fields and high-ranking dignitaries." Yang Xinxi nodded and said nothing more. Everyone just chatted for a while, and knowing that Zhang Yi particularly hated this kind of lengthy conversation, everyone left very tactfully. When there is an imbalance of strength, the rewards given by the stronger to the weaker are based on their intentions. In fact, the return Zhang Yi gave them has exceeded their expectations, so no one has any objections. Everyone else left, but Zhu Zheng was not in a hurry to leave. Although he also stood up, he still walked to Zhang Yi and said in a very intimate manner, "Old Zhang, now that everyone else has left, we need to talk about something close to our hearts. You see, you're from the Jiangnan region after all. In my mind, Tianhai City is one of the two capitals of the Jiangnan region. So, can you please give our Jiangnan district some preferential treatment?" Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. Preferential treatment? He looked at Zhu Zheng, touched his chin, and thought for a while. "What preferential treatment do you want? Jiangnan district has been undisturbed over the years due to my protection and has developed very rapidly. And among the aliens, there's only one Zhu Yu in Blizzard City who's worth mentioning. Deng Shentong has gone out to find resources himself, so he won't be asking you for anything, right? That's it. You're still not satisfied?" There was a playful smile on Zhang Yi's face. Although Zhu Zheng seems to be working very hard, leaving Tianhai City aside, the overall strength of the Jiangnan region is obviously not enough. Zhu Zheng's ability is actually just that. He was too selfish. In terms of management ability, he was only slightly better than Li Changgong. Zhu Zheng's expression changed slightly, but as a veteran in officialdom, he quickly concealed his embarrassment. "Isn't this because you are here?" Zhang Yi patted his shoulder, like a superior educating his subordinate. Okay, everyone contributed this time. I'll keep it in mind. You need to use up all the resources first. It will take a long time. Don't be too greedy. Eat your food one bite at a time." After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he turned around and talked to Yang Xinxin. Zhu Zheng had no choice but to leave the lounge. Returning to the lounge of his command center, he called Zhu Yu and his secretary Lan Xinqing, who had been transferred back recently. Because Lan Xinqing knew the truth, but did not report it, Zhu Zhengfa exiled him and made him do hard work for a period of time. Originally, Lan Xinqing thought that he would hardly have the chance to return to the center in his lifetime, but unexpectedly, Zhu Zheng changed his mind. After all, there are not many people around Zhu Zheng who are useful. Compared to him, Zhu Zheng, the powerful people in Blizzard City are now moving closer to the Deng family. They all knew that Deng Shentong had already established contact with Zhang Yi and was now half of Zhang Yi's entourage. Zhu Zheng sat on the sofa, frowning slightly, and smoked a cigarette for the first time in a long time. Zhu Yu and Lan Xinqing came to the office. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. Zhu Yu nodded lightly and greeted Lan Xinqing. She didn't say much, and Lan Xinqing didn't mind. He knew that Zhu Yu was only 4 years old according to her birth date, and she didn't understand much about the ways of the world. Even if he was punished on her behalf, he would not say it now. He just wanted the other party to remember that she owed him a favor. The two entered the office and saw Zhu Zheng with a serious expression. He wore a goose-down vest over his white shirt. The temperature in the room was not low, so Lan Xinqing was only wearing a single piece of clothing. But Zhu Zheng is over 60 years old after all. He is already very old, and even though he has the best medical conditions, he is not an enhanced mutant after all. For 4 years, he worried about the uncertain future every day and night, and his hair had actually turned almost completely white. Therefore, he needs to dye his hair every few days to maintain his energetic image in the eyes of others. "Father." Zhu Shuai. The two came in front of Zhu Zheng. Zhu Zheng raised his head and glanced at them, then pointed at the sofa and said, "Sit down. We haven't been together for a while, so let's have a good chat today." Chapter 2305, The Great Shift of the Universe, 3. Zhu Zheng asked Zhu Yu and Lan Xinqing to sit in front of him. Zhu Yu sat there obediently, with his hands on his knees, not saying a word, just looking at Zhu Zheng silently. She felt that there was nothing wrong with her decision to go to the Wulwan Empire without authorization. She was acting entirely in accordance with her own heart, so she was not at fault. Her mind is extremely pure, and she maintains this attitude even when facing Zhu Zheng. Zhu Zheng smiled and said, "You've gained a lot in the Wulwan Empire this time, right?" Zhu Yu nodded honestly and replied, "I killed more than 24 lizardmen, including a black chariot-level Epsilon and 2 white chariot-level Epsilons. Their original power is very delicious. Now my ability index has reached 28,000 points." When she talked about this, there was a hint of joy in her tone, and the look she gave Zhu Zheng was filled with a hint of pride, as if to say, "Come and praise me." Zhu Zheng's eyes softened a lot, and as expected, he smiled and nodded. "She's truly worthy of being my daughter. She's just outstanding." Zhu Yu's abilities were perfectly inherited from Yuan Kongye, and after systematic training and Li Lingshua's specialized education, his abilities were developed to an incredible level. That is, there is no need for any process for her to absorb the alien essence. She can absorb the original power of all aliens and beasts indiscriminately and inherit their special abilities. If we have to say what her flaw is, it's probably that she gains power quickly, which is easy to learn but difficult to master. Therefore, she can use every ability, but she cannot master it as well as the original holder of the ability. This was demonstrated when the Wulwan Empire was fighting against the Sun of Weathering. Zhu Zheng was very happy in his heart, but soon he thought of something and restrained his smile. "It seems that what you did was right. Over the past few years, I have always kept you by my side because I was worried that something would happen to you if you left me." He sighed and said, "You should understand the love an old father has for his daughter. He's afraid that you'll run into any danger out there." Lan Xinqing nodded quickly and said, "Zhu Shuai, I completely understand your thoughts." He looked at Zhu Yu, "But now you've seen it. Miss Zhu Yu is old enough, and she should be allowed to venture out on her own. Only in this way can she tap into her natural talents and potential and become even stronger. Only in this way can she not lose to that traitor who has gone far away." As Zhu Zheng's confidant, Lan Xinqing knows very well what Zhu Zheng is thinking. To put it nicely, he was worried that something might happen to Zhu Yu. But in fact, isn't he still afraid of Gao Changkong, who is becoming increasingly powerful in Bharata? The international situation has been basically stable in the past 2 years, and they also have channels to obtain news from other countries. Gao Changkong's information is transmitted from the southwest region every week. It is said that Gao Changkong's status among the 8 immortals has now risen to the top 3. Even if we just talk about strength, only Indra can suppress him. The more this happened, the more worried Zhu Zheng became. He often had nightmares, dreaming that Gao Changkong returned to Blizzard City and killed his entire family. Zhu Zheng's gray hair is mostly due to him. Zhu Zheng faced the two and said earnestly, "As the supreme commander of the Jiangnan region over the years, I have always been worried about the development of the entire Jiangnan region and the survival of all its people. I admit that after the apocalypse, in order to ensure the survival of the collective, the interests of some people were indeed sacrificed. Because of this, I've earned a lot of hatred from people. I don't know how many people out there want to kill me right now. Among them, the one I fear the most is Gao Changkong, who defected to Bharata." He stared at Zhu Yu. "Zhu Yu, you have grown up now. With an ability index of 28,000 points, you are ranked among the best in the entire Huashu Kingdom. Putting aside the 2 monsters Hundun and Ho-Tu, there are few who can defeat you. I guess Gao Changkong will also be suppressed in Bharata. The people of Bharata are not stupid. It is impossible for them to fully train a foreigner. So you have to remember, from today on, you only have one biggest task." Zhu Zheng's gaze became more fierce. That is, to kill Gao Changkong and resolve the last hidden danger in the Jiangnan region. To be precise, it was Zhu Zheng's own hidden danger. Because from the beginning to the end, Gao Changkong was only targeting him and those high-ranking officials like him who had eliminated a large number of old and weak people in those days. Zhu Yu's eyes were a little confused, but he still nodded. Since her father said Gao Changkong deserved to die, she might as well find an opportunity to kill him. She didn't think there was anything wrong with that. After Zhu Zheng finished speaking, he looked at Lan Xinqing again. I sighed in my heart. He was punished for the Zhu Yu incident, but unexpectedly, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Zhu Yu became more powerful, and Zhu Zheng's safety was better guaranteed. Facts have proved that Lan Xinqing was right. But as a leader, Zhu Zheng could not admit his mistakes. You helped Zhu Yu leave Blizzard City without my consent. But considering your years of loyalty and Zhu Yu's safe return without incident, I will forgive you this time. From today on, you will return to the Secretariat and continue working. But remember, this won't happen again. Zhu Zheng's tone was filled with warning. Betrayal is something that no leader can tolerate. Logically speaking, even if he reduced Lan Xinqing's punishment, he would not be able to allow him to continue serving as secretary. But now, he really has no one around him to use. In comparison, the small mistakes made by Lan Xinqing can only be forgiven. A look of joy appeared on Lan Xinqing's face, and he quickly lowered his head. Thank you for your forgiveness, General Zhu. From now on, I will go through fire and water without hesitation. Zhu Zheng's gaze slowly turned to the window. At this time, Blizzard City was bustling with activity, gathering the elite of the entire Huaxu Kingdom. Everyone knows that from today on, the Huaxu Kingdom will undergo a tremendous transformation. I will use the shortest possible time to make my Zhu Yu a bishop-level alien. By that time, Gao Changkong will no longer be a threat to me. Zhu Zheng made up his mind that after getting the resources promised by Zhang Yi, he would concentrate on cultivating Zhu Yu first. And the remaining resources will not just be divided among the major families. In the end times, if you want to have power and status, you must master absolute military force. Blizzard City, it's time to increase its combat power. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.